You could have an expensive camera, years of experience, and the most beautiful portfolio. But if potential clients land on your website or social media, they're making a snap judgment about whether you're a professional or an amateur in about 10 seconds. Listen, most photographers get this wrong. And if things aren't going the way they want, they think the solution is to take better photos or buy better gear. The truth is, the photographers making six figures aren't necessarily more talented than you. They've just eliminated these tiny little details that scream amateur before clients even look at their work. Things like what your email address is, the words you use, and even the method in which you use to respond to inquiries. I'm Sarah Petty, and I started my career working for one of the strongest brands in the world, Coca-Cola Enterprises. Then I spent years as a marketing director at an ad agency fixing every client's mistakes. Now I've got a front seat to all of my students' photography businesses, and I can tell you, I've seen it all. So today I'm breaking down the 7 mistakes that are costing you bookings. Fix even half of these, and you will see prospects treating you completely differently. Let's just say you'll get fewer of what one of my mentors calls freeple cheaple people and more of the premium clients that we call preeple premium people. Mistake number 1, using Gmail, Hotmail, iCloud, or God forbid, an AOL email address. Listen, let's start with something that seems small but has massive impact, and that's your email address. If you're using your name at gmail.com instead of your name at yourdomain.com, you're immediately signaling to clients that you're brand new to business. Here's why this matters. Gmail, Hotmail, iCloud, these are all cheap, free, and easy to get. So anyone can get one in the morning and in the afternoon say, hey, I'm in business. This is where most people start. So when clients see this, they're thinking, they're not serious about this. This must be a hobby, not a real business. I recently had someone approach me to work with them, and they gave me this thin, flimsy little business card with a Gmail address on it. And I thought, I'm not going to do business with this person because he's probably not even going to be in business next week. I'm not being negative, but we know that most businesses fail. And so if you haven't even been in business long enough to get your email at your domain, that signals to people that you're not running a stable business. The fix is so easy. Get an email address at your domain. It's so easy and inexpensive. It's often included with your website hosting, and this alone makes you look so professional. Professional email signals that you are a professional business in the client's minds. It's a simple fix that will have massive impact on first impressions. All right, so we're building a premium brand here with professional touch points, but there's one thing as a photographer that will destroy all of that work faster than anything else. And I see this a lot. It's mistake number 2, using online ordering galleries. Listen, this is probably going to make some of you uncomfortable, but stick with me. Because listen, if you're giving clients access to online ordering galleries where they can go and see all their images, download them, or at least screen grab them, and I get it, you might have a way for them to order prints, but the thing is, they're doing it without talking to you. So you're treating this portrait photography interaction more like a self-service transaction instead of a relationship. And listen, I know you think you're serving your clients, but you're actually not. You're forcing them to browse and buy without guidance, which, by the way, doesn't work because when people get overwhelmed, decision fatigue sets in and people get stuck. And then you wonder, what did I do wrong? Why didn't they order? It must be something I did. Yeah, it was the online ordering galleries. Let me explain this with what I call the drive-through effect. So if you add a drive-through window to your restaurant, you become a drive-through restaurant. Makes sense, right? Has nothing to do with you, how nice you are, how serious you are, or frankly, how good your food is. It's a business decision that tells people you're a certain type of business. You're with me so far, yes? Okay, same thing with online ordering galleries. You're signaling that you are a quick, low service, low price photography business. If your customers are just given all the digital files and told to figure out what to do with them, they're not going to be investing in artwork. They're thinking the photographer doesn't care what I order, our transaction is done. I'm on my own. Maybe I'll order, maybe I won't. Usually they don't. And the perception of you is screaming that you're new, that you're not going to serve your clients at the level that you need for them to end up with wall portraits. Now I get it. This is a little different for wedding jobs, or if you're doing commercial things like headshots where people might be ordering from online galleries. That's fine. That makes sense. But for portrait photography, which I think is the best kind of photography because you can do a session on a Wednesday morning and get a multi-$1,000 order instead of working hourly for commercial jobs or endless hours editing and retouching all of the wedding images that you gave up your Saturday and Saturday night for. So, as a portrait photographer, here's what to do instead. You create the images and then you sit with your clients in person and you hold their hand as you show them their options. And then you make recommendations based on what you talked about before this session. We call that an in-person consultation. And you help them figure out what would look beautiful hanging in their home. You don't have to be pushy to help guide them to the right products that are going to look amazing in their home. That specific ordering appointment where you're sitting with them, showing them the images, helping them decide is where the magic happens, but it needs to happen within an hour. For me, I kept looking at the things I was doing and I created 12 steps that I have to do every single time. And I created that system by pretending I was serving my very best friend. So what can I do to make it easy for her to make a decision? Listen, when it's easy for the client to see your artwork framed and hanging in their home because you put it in their home digitally for them to see and make their decision, so easy for them to say yes. And listen, by ordering for them, you're serving them by color correcting, managing exposure, helping them get it framed in the proper frame. This is why people don't like to order art, because they're afraid of making a mistake. And we've all done that, haven't we? Ordered an ugly chair or sofa or bought the wrong size artwork and we hang it on the wall and we're disappointed because it looks stupid. Yeah. This service is the difference between a client giving you $200 for an online gallery of digital files or ordering several $1,000s worth of beautiful artwork that they're going to love and have hanging in their house for years. Now, speaking of first impressions, let's talk about something else that clients notice immediately. And this is mistake number 3. Inconsistent logos and branding. This one is huge. And I told you I started my career at Coca-Cola where they were religious about that ugly Coca-Cola logo, even their color of red. You just don't mess around with Coca-Cola Red. So for you, if you're using a logo that your nephew created for fun, or because you like the trendy new fonts and you have 5 different versions of your logo, you are creating confusion with your potential clients. I see photographers who make donations to their church directory or some community publication, or maybe you trade for an ad in a community publication and they just type up your business name and call it a logo. No, this is a huge branding disconnect and creates confusion. We don't want confused clients. Even more than your logo, let's talk about your social media profiles. Friend, you got to pick a name. If your name, for example, is Sarah Petty Photography, but your domain is sarahsphotos.com and your Facebook is Sarah Bobera and your Instagram is some Illinois photographer, clients are not going to be able to figure out who you are. Here's what I want you to really understand. Your business identity is what you look like. That's your name, your colors, your style. And your brand is how people feel about you. When your identity is inconsistent, your brand feels unprofessional and confusing. Clients might think, they're disorganized, or they don't take their business seriously. Or if they can't commit to their own brand, why would I trust them with mine? This person is scattered, unreliable, etc. You probably have a friend who is unreliable, shows up differently every time you see them. They're trying to figure out who they are. You get what I'm saying. When you're a business, this makes it nearly impossible for clients to not only find you, but remember you and refer you. It creates something called cognitive cognitive dissonance where your actions aren't matching your beliefs. What I mean by this is you're saying, I'm a high-end photographer and I'm going to take amazing care of you, but you're acting in ways that brand new, low-level, inexpensive, discounting, cheap photographers do. So it's creating confusion in the mind of the consumer. And my friend, you're making things so much harder than they need to be, and you're sabotaging your marketing efforts because when people start to look you up, they get confused, and a confused mind does not buy. The solution: simplify. Pick one name and one professionally designed logo and commit 100% to it. I have not changed my logo for Sarah Petty Photography since I paid a designer to create it in 1998. I said, I don't want something trendy. I want something that can stay with me, just like Coca-Cola. And then I committed to it, and I use it everywhere. Social media, email signature, marketing materials, every single place that you use it. And if you donate your services somewhere and you get a free ad given to you, you create the ad with your proper branding or trade for a graphic designer to do it. Don't let someone else create some version of your logo that looks similar. I really need you to hear this. Consistency builds recognition. Recognition builds trust. Trust builds bookings. Okay, so you've got your professional email, you're helping your clients order, and your consistent branding is locked in. Now let's talk about a mistake that I think is the kiss of death. And that's mistake number 4, offering discounts. This is killing your business. If you're running sales, offering percentage off promotions, creating discount codes, having mini sessions that are priced cheaper than your regular sessions, or posting about spring specials or fall discounts, you're screaming to the world, I am a low value commodity photographer. You're saying, I'm just another person with a camera if you just happen to need some cheap photos. No. Here's what clients think about when you discount. They think this photographer is desperate for clients. They're probably not very good. And if I'm someone looking for photography, but I don't really care about it, but I just want something cheap, you're telling me that we're a good fit. And the really hard part is that if you do have some great clients who paid you full price, they're gonna see you discounting and think, oh, instead of booking now, and I'm gonna wait and book when you have a sale. And the saddest part is that it devalues your work because whoever wants to pay more than the sale price? Nobody. So what do you do instead? Make the decision right now to never discount your work, period. Most businesses compete with cheap because someone's willing to do it for less, but we compete with free because everyone has a digital camera. So you will never, ever, not ever win the price race to the bottom. And if you're saying, yeah, Sarah, that sounds great, but if I can't get enough clients when I discount, how am I going to get clients when I'm full price? Listen, this is what we call your biggest business constraint. If you don't know how to attract and book right fit clients who come in and consistently invest over $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, that is your skill gap and where you need to put 100% of your effort and resources to learn. And then everything opens up in your business and life until you get stuck again. But that's a big one. And listen, build it and they will come. It happened in a movie, right? It's not in real life. I live in a cornfield, literally on both sides of my house. And in 27 years of business, I have not seen any clients walk out of the cornfield holding money. Okay. For you to compete and thrive in a very saturated market like photography, you can totally do it, but you got to stop doing what everyone else does. You've got to learn to price for profit. You've got to gain the marketing skills that you need to attract the right clients who value what you do. And then you've got to have service-based selling skills so you know how to get consistently high orders without being annoying or pushy or salesy. Truly, my friend, this is probably everything you're likely looking for in this channel in a few sentences. Once you separate yourself from all the commodity photographers by doing these things strategically differently, no one can touch you. And when you serve properly and you position yourself not as a commodity who's willing to do anything for a low price, the clients you attract will love the experience. They will gladly pay you premium prices. Now, profitable pricing is one thing, but the words you use to talk about your pricing in your business, that's seemingly a small nuance, but it adds a whole other level of importance. Mistake number 5 is using amateur language and vocabulary. Listen, words matter more than you think. If you're using amateur language, and some of it is just triggering language, you're setting amateur pricing expectations and you're actually jeopardizing getting an order at all. Here's what I mean. If you say spend instead of invest, you're focusing on money going out instead of adding value to your clients. So more than anything, words like that, spend, pay, it really is going to end up sabotaging your sales, because it starts to make people nervous that they're spending and buying versus investing in something that just keeps getting better with time. If you say pictures instead of artwork, you're making it sound more like snapshots from a phone, not professional art curated from an artist. If you're referring to your price list and you have packages or a la carte instead of custom, you're making it sound like fast food combos or deals, which then is commoditizing your work. If you're using print credit language, you know what I'm talking about. You pay the session fee and you get print credits. You're confusing people, and you're also showing up like a high volume sports photographer, and you're making people do math, which never works out in your favor. If you're using language like mini session, you're cheapening the experience. And think about it. The word mini literally means small. So how do you expect to get a big order from a small experience? And then I really want to challenge you to think about words that could trigger people. If you're using the word shoot, right, like photo shoot, instead of session, you're using language that sounds aggressive and potentially violent. Has other meanings, doesn't it, that could trigger people? And do you want your kids to hear you saying you're going out to shoot a family today? Let's not plant those words in their precious little brains as they're developing. The words you use are everything with regard to how much people value you. So start listening to how luxury brands talk about their products and mirror that language. Your vocabulary should match your pricing. And if you want to charge premium prices and work with premium clients and have premium sessions that aren't all about price, you've got to use premium language. By the way, if you want more insights like this delivered right into your inbox, make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. It's a quick 5-minute read with actionable tips to grow your photography business. I will stick the link in the description for you. Now, speaking of language, let's shift to social media for a minute, because what you're posting matters just as much as how you're saying it. What I'm talking about is mistake number 6, now booking social media posts. Be honest, have you ever posted now booking all over your social media and after you did it felt a little desperate, like you're begging for clients? First off, without having a strong following and a lot more value-based posts, when you simply post now booking, it does feel like a begathon because that's how it looks to everyone else. As if you weren't now booking last week and you're not going to be now booking next week? I see some people just doing that all the time, and it can make you look desperate. Here's the thing, and this is what I drill into my students. The best clients out there aren't necessarily looking for you. It is on you as the photographer to go find them and solve problems for them. Okay, maybe they got a new puppy. They're not thinking about the artwork that they need, and they won't think about it till that puppy is grown. So if you're thinking, well, but how can I use social media for that? Listen, that is the best way to engage with people, to position yourself as an expert, but also you can use it to either create posts that identify people's problems, needs, or opportunities, or you can just go look on their pages to see what they're posting, because usually they share that with you. So instead of posting now booking, what should you post instead? You post about your work, your process, share the value you provide, share client transformations and finished products. Then you let your work speak for itself rather than constantly saying, I'm now booking. And listen, You can even pose questions like, does anybody have grandparents and extended family coming in for the holidays? And when they comment, oh my gosh, we do, you want to private message them to say, hey, I had a really good idea. Your family's probably not together a lot. What if we created a really cool session for your family, right? And then you get them on the phone and you talk to them about it. You don't just put it in the public comments because you're opening yourself up to a lot of drama. I know you can do this. You can be more strategic about what you post, but there's another huge mistake that's overwhelming your prospects. And if you've ever been to the Cheesecake Factory, you know what I'm talking about. Mistake number 7 is selling every product under the sun. Here's a big one. If you're offering everything but the kitchen sink on your price list because you think it's serving people, small prints, 3x4, 4x6, 5x7, 8x10, maybe you've got blankets, puzzles, charms, or canvases. You're screaming, I'm a fast food restaurant versus a curated upscale restaurant. You look desperate, like you'll sell anything to everyone. Can you say Cheesecake Factory? Go to their website if you've never heard of them. It's like 20-minute scroll to get to the bottom. What? A lot of photographers think that, oh my gosh, I have to have something for everyone, which means you appeal to no one. And seriously, some of these cheap novelty items that I see on price lists, it's not serious artwork and it can devalue what you're doing. And people are thinking, I can get this made myself online. They don't see you as an artist who specializes. So when you overwhelm clients with so many choices, instead of taking their hand and guiding them to a simple, curated list of products, you're not serving them. Premium brands curate. Discount brands offer everything. Here's your easy fix. Curate your offerings to be simple and focused on high-value products. Fewer, bigger, better, which is really the boutique mantra. Listen, I always say that big doors swing on little hinges, and this is a really important one. You want to keep people in the emotion of the beautiful artwork that you're creating for them, not in their logical brain where they need 5 degrees to figure out what the heck you're even offering. Too many options and decisions puts them into the logical side of the brain where they have guilt and they struggle making decisions. We want to make it easy for them by keeping them in that feeling they get when they're looking at their artwork and the vision of seeing it on their walls, wall portraits, albums, and books, things that justify premium pricing and things that create heirloom value. I'm talking like 5 to 7 product categories maximum. So when the options are limited and elevated, clients focus on the images and emotion, not comparing 47 product choices. Remember, the Cheesecake Factory menu versus fine dining. More options does not mean better. Guide them to what they actually need for their home because more choices does not mean they are better choices. Friend, I hope you got all these written down and you start fixing them because once you do, my gosh, your brand will be elevated and prospects will start seeing you as a professional who is worth more. That's when you'll watch your average orders steadily go up and the time you're spending with clients will go down because you're not overshooting, over editing, and over retouching anymore. You will be seen as a leader in your community and your family. Truly, when you quit obsessing about doing the things that all of your non-profitable photographer competitors are doing and you start running a better business, that's when it gets really fun. If you're watching this and you're excited and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I love this idea, but I'd like to know what are all of the pieces in a profitable business, I want you to watch my next video where I lay out what it really takes to build a 6-figure portrait photography business, even part-time. And it's not what you think.